Hello. Welcome back to another edition of Hobby News Daily. I'm still Danny Black, but today I'm joined by Mike Gio from Sports Cards Nonsense. What's going on, Mike?
I thought you were going to start with the chair turn. I was very excited to see that chair again, and it
I
didn't
can't
happen.
show this on record though.
Oh, okay. That's the nice thing about a podcast. No one cares if you're bald or not or whatever. So, yeah, there's my intro. Was that good? Take two?
I thought that was fantastic. I was moved. I thought it was an emotional performance.
Excellent.
I laughed. I cried.
Sure.
Um,
You
I
fondled my soul in ways you won't know.
I wanted to have you on here because I respect your kind of perspective of the hobby. I think one of the things that we both like is to call it where it is and be an umpire of the hobby, not a decider of the hobby. And there's been a lot going on, quite frankly, more than I think people are focused on. I think everybody's getting their kind of their national buzz going, and they're going to be all drunk on that for a while. And us content creators get to do that for a while. But I want to take a step back and talk about you guys and your show first of all. When did you you personally first get involved with breaking?
So I started breaking as a customer first, probably 2013, 2014, kind of dabbling. And then a guy, just super quick, a guy down the street from me, I bought a card off eBay, looked at the address, and I messaged him. I was like, hey, you live 2 miles from me. Can I get involved with you? Can I come pick it up, rather? Went to pick it up at his house. He's like, by the way, like, do you break? I was like, yeah, I just kind of started it and looking into it a little bit, didn't know it. He's like, yeah, I quit my job to break, which I was like, and he had a wife, kid, like a professional job. I was like, this is insane. Kind of explained it to me and walked me through. And we stayed in touch for a few months. So that was like 2015. And by the end of 2015, I was like, hey, if we can get a little startup money, we can make a real run at this thing. And so we did. And then so come 2016, same thing, buying off Blowout, buying off Dave and Adams, just piecing things together. And by the end of 2016, so like November-ish, I think is when Bowman pre-orders were due for 2017 Bowman. We're like, all right, I'm going to take a little bit of time off. You're already full time. Let's get business license, tax ID. Let's get really set up, get distribution. And Bowman will be our first product. So 2016 of like November of 2016, we really started taking significant time off, going half and half in preparation for 2017. We're going to start this thing off full time.
Emotionally, do you think about that every time you see that Bowman?
Oh yeah, dude, talk about a different world. So Bowman back then was like 605 a case, 616 a case, and we ordered 70 cases, first
That's
order ever.
crazy.
And they were like, "Oh, well, we can do better on price. Like we can't sell Bowman, so we'll do better on price." And you could just walk into distributors back then and get whatever you wanted. But I had to take out. This was way different, man. I was making 30 grand a year. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like a totally different world. So I literally had to borrow a cash advance on my credit card, which was an awesome decision. And I had to borrow money from my stepfather because we had to put a down payment because they're like, we can't get stuck with this. If you don't take it, nobody buys Bowman. And so it was, and then you're waiting months and months to get the product. So it was a crazy, difficult 6 months, stressful.
In hindsight, lessons learned, stuff that went way differently than you expected, stuff that you would change if you were to talk to your younger self.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple things. I mean, first of all, we went in somewhat heavy, but we were always very, very cautious. Even though we were risking every penny we had, both of us kind of. I mean, knowing what I know now, would be like, hey, just take a $100,000 loan and go get 500 cases of bone. Go absolutely crazy. Um, but obviously you can't look back and we didn't know. Lessons learned is being an entrepreneur is great and starting a business is great. Can be. It takes you sacrifice things. Like if you're going to throw all this time and energy into one thing, I would argue some of those years were the most difficult of my marriage because I wasn't around like I should have been, or I was stressed about money, or I was working. Hey, come to bed. Let's go watch a movie. I got to go sort for 4 hours. So it takes you make decisions and sacrifices come with those. So that was certainly, and I've learned I'm a very difficult person to work with. I think people say that as like a tagline to be cute. I am extremely opinionated. Um, I'm overly prideful, and I am a perfectionist with everybody but myself. Quite frankly, like Jesse has realized how difficult I am to work with. Me and that guy split because of my personality. I've had other business relationships go south because of it. So, yeah, it's been eye opening to realize, like, hey, you're not the easiest person to get along with.
I've been told I have resting bitch face and that I naturally come
RBF,
across. Yeah,
extremely. You turned that chair, I was like, this is gonna go south quick.
You don't understand. I was helping out a friend at the Chantilly show. Somebody walks up to the booth and goes, "You just look like you're mean and unhappy."
Accurate. But you seem
Thank
very
you.
pleasant, I will say. I've seen enough of your content. You seem pretty chill.
I didn't know I had this problem until recently. So
Oh,
I'm
it's
discovering.
bad.
So you're talking about you're describing yourself, and I'm thinking, I have some of that in me, but I never realized it until recently.
I act how you look. That's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, and I don't do it on purpose. I really don't. And I've worked with some good people, but yeah,
Yeah, you know what though? It usually means you're passionate about what you're doing. I work on my own for a reason. I'm not going to hide that fact. I don't like working with other people,
sure.
and so but that's part of it. So talk to me. You're now on the we'll call it the other side of the hobby. You've walked behind the curtain. You've seen the inner workings of some of this sausages getting made. Um, what the heck has this hobby come to?
Yeah, it's a different. I mean, it's a business as much as anything now, right? Like it is much more of a business than it ever was when. How old are you, Danny? I think we're about the same age.
I'm in my late 40s.
Oh, geez, you look good for your age. You could have RBF. You look great.
Thank you,
Uh,
thank you.
so yeah, I'm 38. Yeah, it's a different world than when we were coming up. Like there was you
Sure.
traded, you bought cards and you sold singles or you ripped a pack yourself.
Yep.
You know, breaking is breaking's a great I would argue breaking is the greatest asset the hobby's had over the past 6-8 years and the most detrimental. I think it brings in as many people and it hurts as many people. And yeah, that part has changed the hobby. Content has changed the hobby. You weren't watching, it's people are now telling you how to enjoy your hobby. Before you just found your way here and enjoyed what you wanted.
Do you find yourself in a weird position sometimes of wanting to express your opinion? And I talked about this at the beginning, but we're really calling balls and strikes as we see them. If something happens, Fanatics does something, Walmart does something, whatever the pack du jour is, we have a response, and it's like the reaction videos when people watch music that they didn't grow up on, and we love watching reaction videos. I find myself wanting to do more of that than telling people how to hobby.
Yeah, I actually the read and react type segments I think are the best.
Yeah,
Like reading what's going on, just reacting to it, or even just like what other content creators. I love doing that. That's how I made my bones as a breaker, though. My big thing was literally going on, and we'd start streams with streaming other breaks and just playfully, but just like making fun of other breaks. Like, look at this
yeah.
idiot charging $48 for the Pirates. They don't have a single first. Like literally just dumb stuff like that, or a guy telling you you're getting a deal. That is how I made, and then how I made my way into content was sold the breaking business, retired, which lasted a month or two because I was just miserable and bored. I started watching like content, and there wasn't much out in 2020. And I was just like, these guys are terrible. So I went live and just was like complain about other content people, react to them. But yeah, I don't want to tell. Yeah, I have much more leaned into that, like you're saying. I don't want to tell you what to do. I want to tell you what I think of things, and I'll tell you what I feel, or right, wrong, indifferent, liked it, loved it, whatever. But I also don't need you looking to me at like what. That's why we don't do like the segments, buy this, sell that anymore. I don't know. I can tell you what I'm doing, and I've
Right.
made money on a lot, and I've lost money on a lot.
Yeah, no, I can tell you stay away from Greg Jeffries and Kevin Moss, and that's about as good as my advice is. Is 20 years in hindsight, or 30 years in
Oh,
hindsight.
Yeah, I do remember Greg Jeffries. Who's the other guy?
Kevin Moss, Yankees phenom for a solid 2 weeks. Let me tell you, for 2 weeks, this guy was Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle mixed into one.
What year are we talking?
Late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
That's the difference. Which prospects do you remember failing? Brian Taylor?
First one I remember, honestly, as a big time guy, first year of breaking, 2016 draft, Mickey Moniak, Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis
Right.
was a slugger. Mickey money back, first $100 raw auto out of a
Uh,
pack.
you almost caught me on the turn again. I bought Kyle Lewis at the beginning of last season on a flyer that he would hold up. So I got burned by Kyle Lewis in 2023. How's that
Yep.
for being stupid?
That dude has
Okay.
torn his ACL like 7 times now.
I,
Unbelievable.
I should be his doctor, not buying his cards. Let's react to a couple things. Have you heard about the vending machine they put in the casino?
Yeah, Jesse just told me about this, the PSA one.
Yeah, for a mystery pack.
Yeah, $50, you get a PSA 10 slab, and it can be any sport, including TCG.
Yep.
That is all I know, though. Is unless there's more detail. Is there any more like?
You filled in all the color. They put it in a casino, which to me means that they're encouraging the alcohol and the gambling. I don't, not they're encouraging gambling. They're comfortable putting it on the floor as a mystery pack item.
Sure, same mindset. You're chasing something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a live break, except you don't know what you're
Yep.
buying. Would you put your money into it more than a novelty?
No, not more than novelty. Like if I'm walking around though, and a $50 sales take a spin, fine. But I don't really have the gambler mentality. Yeah, even with breaks, like I don't sell my breaks that way anyways. Like I can't do flawless for that reason. I can't take $300 a spot
Oh.
to know 85% of the people are going to get crushed. Yeah, it's just not for
And not
me.
only that, it's a vending machine. I don't know. There's something. What is the least authentic relationship you can have? Probably a vending machine.
Oh yeah, it's a slot machine. It's the same exact thing.
Slot machines at least are friendlier.
Oh, they have flashing lights. Yeah, you are
Yeah,
true. That is purely transactional. You,
yeah.
people may not agree, but I could at least argue if you come and buy your team in Bowman, yes, most people in a break do not make their money. Your ROI is not great day one. But if you're in for an hour and a half, especially for us, we put on a show. I'm singing like a moron. We're talking about the prospects. And again, some people, oh, I don't care about that. Then don't break. But for me, honestly, the way I've always rationalized it, if I take my wife out to a nice restaurant on a Friday night and then we go for a drink after, I'm spending a few $100. I'm okay spending that in a break if I'm going to be with a group of guys actually enjoying the interaction. And I may get something on the back end too. I'm probably going to get something small because I only would ever break base heavy stuff anyways. But I'm potential for upside. But my dinner is not going to pay for itself either. I'm not expecting this to, but there's a chance maybe it does.
Hypothetically, I lay $1 or two on a sports app on my phone every so often, and I look at it as entertainment money.
Sure. Yep.
Reasonably. So, um, you broke a little news. We're early on a little news. Fortune 500 company coming into the space.
We blew it, man, huh? We knew about the Walmart stuff for a month. We should have posted first. I don't know what happened. We dropped the ball.
I feel for you on that one. So what are your first thoughts?
I'm underwhelmed. I don't.
Okay,
I told Jesse this. I was like, it's not like they came in and said, hey, we're doing a live streaming experience that also is going to be in stores and this and that. They already have the platform. If I'm going to go do that, my thing was, who does this appeal to? Because like us cardboard nerds don't care. Like if I'm going to nerd out and buy something, I'm going to eBay. I'm going to Fanatics Live. I'll go to Whatnot. I'll go to Blowout Forums. I'll go to Facebook buy sell groups. Okay, so who's going to go there and buy a card? My wife. Like, hey, when my kid gets older, I have $15 to spend. I'm not going to a shop. I'll go to Walmart. Well, if they're going to do that, they're just going to go to Amazon now. Like everybody has Amazon. So I struggle. And if you know that going into it, then as a seller, even why am I going there to sell? Who am I selling it to? I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I think Walmart has obviously unbelievable reach. I do think they're going to struggle unless they do something that really sets them apart. And I don't know what that would really be.
Well, to your point, who's sitting around saying, I'm not ready to buy until rollback prices?
Right.
I mean, who is that person that says, now that Walmart's in the game, I'm time to drop some money?
Yeah, exactly. And so that pool of people, right? Like it is. It's the housewives who are like, hey, I want something for my kid. It's the wife of the husband who's not in touch with their breaker or a shop. And I'm just like, if even they know how to use eBay though, or they know how to go to Amazon, why are they
No.
coming? Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird. And you notice too, that didn't get picked up by anybody. I thought that was going to be like a major Yahoo. When me and Jesse talked, I was like, dude, we'll break it first. We'll get all the trending. We'll make sure the hashtags are on the SEO, like all the search engine. We'll get on like everything. And that way, when Yahoo News reports it, hey, source SCN, like those are valuable clicks. There's nothing out. Jeff Wilson made a post. Neo made a video. We made a post. I know everybody else has now, but that was it. Like the most underwhelming launch of anything.
It speaks to, I think, how much they're prioritizing it as part of their business.
And if that's the case, then I have no faith it does anything. If this was very much like, hey, we're going to come in super soft and then really throw, so maybe the second shoe is going to drop. But if it doesn't,
and I'm going back a while. Was it Costco that was selling high end stuff? I think they have like $100,000 like random stuff on Costco.com. This is great. We're talking Walmart and
Do
Costco.
they really? I'm looking at Costco now. I got a
Yeah,
Costco
you
card.
got to check Costco sports memorabilia. Um, yeah, the Costco card, big help on this one.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah. No, I looked it up and I couldn't believe it. And I thought to myself, a 99-cent hot dog, a bottle of Dom Perignon, and a 52 Mantle. I mean, that's a store. That
That
is a
is-
full store.
That's fair. Hey, you are right though. If you look it up, Costco.com, memorabilia and collectibles. Interesting. Okay. I mean, they've got some stuff. They got a Soto autographed jersey. They've got some a Jokic. I didn't realize they had all this stuff.
Isn't
That's
that crazy?
wild. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Ellie De La Cruz bat. Dang.
I'll
Okay.
give you my address, whatever you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Shawn Michaels autographed belt coming your
but
way.
this is what I'm saying. Are we getting a little crazy with all the marketplaces?
It does seem like it's enough, right? Like, what is the one thing we were all like? I don't know that we need another marketplace. Like, what angle isn't covered now? eBay for the daily user, easy, super easy to go. Live selling, if Fanatics Live, you get whatnot. You know,
You got
oh,
13 vaults.
yeah, the vault is 57. And if you want to do like high end, like, you got PWCC, you got Golden. Yeah, I don't know who was calling. That's one of the few things, questions I was asked. Like, who is this serving right now? Like, what underserved group of people is this helping? The people who need a marketplace. Meh.
You mentioned not breaking the Walmart story right away. How often do you hear news in the hobby now and say immediately your reaction goes to content as opposed to the collector? Or are you still thinking as the collector first and then the
Yeah.
content?
It's the gap is closed, but it's still collector. Like when I was talking, we had an interaction over something else that happened, and I was talking to Ken Golden and some of his people, and somebody let it slip that they were selling to eBay in a month. And my first thought was the same thing. I don't know what, like, okay. But then my next thing was, what day can I break this? I know it's embargoed right now, so I can't talk about it. When can I
Yep.
break it? So it is usually like a reactionary collector first, and then immediately to, okay, is there a way to, monetize? Is there a way to capture this space so that we can be the source? Um, Rarely happens though. Honestly, even with our connections, nobody can keep their mouth shut about things. I feel like everybody breaks news all the time, which I don't even know if it's a bad thing.
The hobby is like a high school. Um, there's some people who are the cool kids who aren't really cool and they just don't know it yet, and then there's a lot of gossip, and then there's the people who are doing the real work that you don't hear from until later, until they're worth millions of dollars, and they were the smart ones the whole time. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think there's content people like that. You know, there are breakers like that. You'd be shocked some of the money these guys make. Oh, I've never heard of them. I think they're happy to be out of the light. They're making
Could-
650 a year. You don't know who they are. Cool. Like I'd trade that in a heartbeat. A little anonymity and make money, like make the same cash. Cool.
How much do you miss the anonymity within the hobby?
Literally thought, how much do you make? I
I'd
was
like
like,
to know. I mean, roughly within a penny or two.
sure. You asked the question, I'll answer it. I do. I tell you when I really miss it, actually. And thankfully, we do hardly any video content, so it doesn't. Although Jesse's done a good job growing that recently with clips and reels. I've been to shows with Ryan Johnson, card collector too. When he comes to
Mhm.
the Nashville show, that guy cannot walk around a show at all. Like he is, we are a tenth of that. Especially me. Jesse is super recognizable. Um, I miss that. I like to be able to go to a show and just deal with the show because I'm at a show and I'm a nobody. I'm just a customer. That part I miss. I want to be well known as a content guy. I want to be well known as a breaker. But if I'm just going around, um, and it also comes with expectations. Like, hey, my kid wants to sell you this card for $20. He loves the podcast. The card's worth 7. Any other person I would buy it for 5, but it's your kid. I'm gonna give you 20. Like I cannot tell you how many times we've done that, and it's worth like that's also part of it, right? Great power, great responsibility. I get the parallel, but sometimes you want to tell some of these people like, okay, I appreciate it, but I'm not rewarding you for that. But most people are good.
I help out a friend of mine. We goof off at the Chantilly show at a table, and he's a pretty well known YouTuber. And I am thrilled for the fact that I am not recognized as much as he is.
Sure.
Um, Anybody who's watching me is hardcore into the hobby.
Yeah. Which is
And
great.
that
And those are
which
not the
which
guys.
which I love.
And so those are not the guys that are gonna fanboy out when they meet you. They might come up and shake your hand. It's not going to change how they would interact with you, though.
I want to talk about the 57 set I'm putting together. I want to talk about
Perfect.
what's going on right now,
Yep.
in the world of sports. I want
I
to
don't
talk
want a
about.
picture and tell you how much I love your content.
Thank you, thank you. But
However, I can't crap on them though, because it is people like that also pay our bills. So I get that to a degree. There's a balance, but
it's my anti-social anxiety,
sure.
and that for me becomes overwhelming. But I got to tell you, I don't have that big of a problem with it, so it makes it real easy.
Perfect. Problem solved.
All right, Mike, we went over.
Oh, you said 30 minutes. I'm ready to go. Well, I thought we were just
All right,
starting.
I'll take it. I was
What's
counting
next?
takeoff and landing. I got a whole list here.
Dude, I'm at your disposal.
Okay,
If
you're
you
too
want to be
nice.
done, I'm done. You
No,
say the
we're
word.
not done. I wanted you longer, but you have a family, evidently.
He's sleeping. We're good. I'm pretty sure he's sleeping. 10-month-old this week.
Do you have the monitor?
My wife has the monitor. I've got the Owlet device.
Okay.
It's like the remote camera. It's pretty good. And it's
So
offline. Okay, we're good. Go ahead.
we have twin boys.
How old?
Now they're 13. So
Oh, okay.
we've made it, and I've got a daughter who's looking at colleges, by the way. So
You really?
I do.
I like that humble brag going to college. I couldn't do that. Dang.
She's much better than I am. I got to figure out who her father is. Um, but one of the things that I've learned with kids is that we want them to do what we like. We want them to collect what we like, root for the teams we liked, and I pretty much went over for 3. I've got one.
Nope.
I'm in Baltimore. One
Okay.
of my sons is a diehard Pokemon collector and Jaguars fan. No explanation. I'm a baseball and Raven Oriole guy. My other son is plays sports, couldn't collect the thing.
Okay.
And my daughter just thinks I'm nuts for all of it. Do
Interesting.
you have hopes and dreams of this being a family thing? Are you content in your own space? How much crosses over do you think in the future, as a dad?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, perfect world. He loves the hobby, loves cards, and like some of the stuff I've put aside from him, he's like all into. I've even put aside like some big Brady rookie boxes, and I'm like, hey, if he really likes and appreciates this, when he's of the age to be able to handle it and understand it, we'll open it and enjoy it together. If he's not, I'll sell it and we can, whatever. Um, I would say though, and I go back and forth on this too. I would love it. My just to get quickly to get personal. My dad is the perfect employee. He has never had any aspirations of being a boss, running a crew, running a job, but he's great. Shows up at 5 in the morning, works all day, works hard, is excellent at what he does in construction. But he's an employee. That's all he ever wants to be, which is great. I couldn't do it. I would be homeless before I'd go back to being an employee. I hated it because the whole time I'm thinking I can do it better. I would improve this. I could make more money doing it. So I have just the mind for that. With him, I would love nothing more than for him to just be all into cards and love the hobby, but just be totally business minded for other things. Because it takes away when interactions go bad in the hobby. It's like, oh, I had a bad day at work and my recreation sucks for the day. So I would love to see him have nothing to do with it business wise. And there's other stresses that come with content and other things. When people know you, it's a different animal. People in your personal world. So that would be my goal. But if he was all into, hey, I'm going to be a YouTube star at 10 and I can do it safely and responsibly, he can do what he wants to do. If he hates it, I get that too. Like that's okay. Do what you want.
Are you worried about the being your son being something that he has to worry about?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. I've toned it down as I've gotten older. I've toned it down since I had him. But I have a lot of not enemies is a strong term, but I don't get along with a lot of people because I'm difficult and I'm outspoken, and whether I'm right or wrong, I think I'm right, so I'm outspoken. And yeah, like at some point, something's going to come up where, hey, you know what? We had a deal on a card. We had a deal on if he's involved with my real estate stuff. We had a deal on this property. but I don't deal with GSFs. That will happen. It just, yeah. I pay for the sins of my father at times. He will pay for the sins of his father at times. Like that is a reality. So,
Well, my brother had a religious school teacher that said, as long as you're not related to Danny, we're in good shape. My brother goes, never heard of him.
yep. Perfect.
The podcast itself, when you first started to where your future may or may not lie in years ahead, what has changed the most from what you wanted to do? Are you doing this show you want to do, or have you had to adapt your horizons?
Yeah, early on, it had to be. Well, first of all, it just started with me ranting on Facebook Lives, and then somebody else got involved, and after that, Jesse got involved. Um, but when we first picked up by Simmons in the Ringer, Bill is very much a stick. I mean, he was very even deliberate on the phone. Like, I'm hiring you to talk about sports cards. I don't need you telling me about what's happening on a basketball court. I have seen more basketball than you will ever hope. I don't need you doing this. Rosillo will talk about that. You've got some major, major players at that network. So he was very much like, you're going to build an audience based on your expertise. And so we had to play the game to a degree of, and that's why, if you listen to our early shows, we had a straight cash homie segment where it was like, hey, this is the hottest card that I think is undervalued. Buy, sell, hold stuff. What's happening with this set? Like really in-depth stuff, all card related. As the numbers grew, it was almost like, okay, there's a little more leeway now. And so now is the show I want to do specifically. Like I enjoy what I do now because if I want to spend the first 10 minutes talking about how my kid threw up and won't sleep, that's what we're going to do. And the audience knows that now. If me and Jesse are arguing, hey, here's what's going on, audience. This is what we're going to talk about. And I'm like, sorry, that's how it is. Like we're very open and public about that. So now is much more the show we wanted to do. But it's also in me really, and I'm trying to get the rest of the pieces together to launch something soon of just a lifestyle type pod. What it will specifically focus on, I don't know, but I would much rather do that as opposed to buy, sell. I don't care. I don't watch content like that, so I don't care about it, and I don't want to do it. So that's kind of my gauge. Would I watch this? No, then I'm not doing it.
You don't need my validation, but Hobby News Daily does not do a buy sell report or a stock up, stock down report for a reason.
I know, Danny, I told you, and I think you thought I was joking. I told you the stuff I've seen from you. I appreciate that you just simply present the fact and then maybe your reaction to it. But that's it. There's not like this push to sway or to validate why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's great. We have enough people who tell me that this is the only way, and if you don't do it this way, you're wrong for this reason. I don't care what anybody does. I don't care if you absolutely hate everything about breaking. No problem. Like it doesn't affect me. But don't be mad that I break.
Right.
I don't care that you're only in the hobby to make money. Don't be mad that I'm in the hobby to PC stuff. I just live and let live, and who cares? Like that's why I actually appreciate your channel. I think you guys kind of play that down the middle role, which we don't see that in life in general enough. So.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's one of the things that when I got started, I felt the hobby needed more, and certainly in written form. I still like reading every so often. So,
It's crazy. We have a newsletter. Two guys write it, John and John. They're excellent writers. I have not read a newsletter since high school, but we get more people that reach out about that are. If you are still doing written content, people love it. Like that has there's a place for all of it. Like I do really think that.
Well, you're a good guy despite your self-described reputation, and I genuinely appreciate the words of kindness as we are bootstrapped and self-funded over this last year and a half. You know how it is building from the ground up.
Sure.
Every word means something. So
how long have you guys been running, by the way, Danny? I was curious about this.
We are over a year. We're about a year and a half.
And what's the squad like? What's the staff like? What's the team look like?
Because I've only 21 writers. We do a
really
podcast every morning. So we do a morning podcast that Adam Palmer hosts every morning. We do a YouTube show every week. This week we're featuring you might know him, Mike from Sports Card Nonsense.
Angry little guy.
And I'm just very lucky that the writers we have are a very good, diverse group. And it's not just sports cards. We have Eric Norton writing about comic books.
Yeah, I've seen the diversity you guys have. I didn't know it
Yeah,
was 21. That's awesome. So what is
I
everybody kicking in if you had to guess articles per week? Like what's each writer on average kicking in?
it's at least one new article a day
Okay.
for the team. So everybody writes
Gotcha.
roughly an article a month, give or take.
Okay.
But we have people who like to write more. We have
Sure.
people that do special series leading up to the national. We're going to probably, in fact, I'm sending out an email today. We don't need 20 articles on going to the national.
Sure.
Yeah. But we had a great article come back. Jason, who's the chair of the Sabre baseball card committee, is one of our writers. And he just
Okay.
wrote an article on how to start collecting if you want to collect vintage. So,
I knew you had a couple different because and again, I have not read everything, but
yeah,
some of what I've read, it's on the website, right?
yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say because I knew I read it somewhere, I couldn't think of where. I could tell by some of the articles. I was like, oh, there's multiple personalities here. Like there's different people, but I had no clue you guys had it built out like that, dude.
It's
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
We
crazy.
just started adding the names to the homepage for the writers. You
Okay,
used
I'm
to have
glad you said that because I never saw
yeah,
that in the past either. I
yeah.
wasn't missing it. Okay,
No,
I
no,
do my research.
I appreciate it. We're flying the plane as we build it here, but
Good. What's the
we
goal? What's the end goal?
that's a great question. Personally, I do a couple different things in the hobby. I would like this to be my sole baby. I created this, out of some far off idea that the world would be a better place in the hobby with it, and I really want to see that through. Um, Sponsorship, we've been blessed and lucky for our first year, and the national will be big for that. You know how that goes,
Yeah, absolutely.
and we're going to make it to Fanatics Fest, and one day we hope to be something bigger, partner with somebody, but continue to get the quality and the same message out there that I don't want to compromise on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, that's impressive, dude. That's a lot of work managing that many personalities, I'm sure.
Well, if you see the back,
That's why.
exactly.
Gotcha.
All
Dang.
right. Now I've officially taken all your time.
Perfect.
Dude, will you please come back again? Because you and I can do
Anytime.
hours. And
Anytime.
I'll
I
get
mean
you
that.
on a
Yeah.
day
Just say the word.
when you're not sitting, and we'll take care of it.
You want me to stand up? Is that what you're saying?
No, I meant babysitting.
Gotcha. Okay. No, she's home. I'm good. Yeah. Yep. Anytime
Okay.
though, man. You say the
Yeah,
word.
no, I appreciate it. And where can everybody find the breaks, the podcast? Give all the good details.
Yeah, so breaking now exclusively on Fanatics Live, Sports Cards Nonsense or SCN Breaks. Jesse's there, Sports Boy, all under the same channel, no just Sports Cards Nonsense. And then the podcast, anywhere you listen, yeah, Sports Cards Nonsense, same thing, same name. Yeah, it's available. I mean, literally anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find it. So, and then the socials, we have a cesspool of a Facebook group with 250,000 people. That is, yeah. Are you guys looking for a Facebook group to buy? Because I would say the
I
word.
was about to say, do you have a Facebook group that wants to advertise? Because all everybody talks about is your Facebook group.
Dude, I've had people. I was getting fitted for suits a couple weeks ago, and the guy was like, and I had my hat on. He's like, "Are you in that group?" I was like, "I own that group." He's like, "Oh, dude." And I was like, "You ever heard the podcast?" Nope. Facebook group? Yep. So that's
Funny.
way to get humbled real quick in public.
That I was about to say, a good friend of mine. When people come up to him and say, "I love the show," he always says, "What's your favorite episode?" And then you get. Blah, 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 blah.
See, I came prepared, man. No names on these articles. Bunch of writers. I knew what I was doing.
Mike, you are above and beyond.
I agree.
All
Danny,
right.
this was fun, man. Anytime you want me back, say the word.
And we blew away Jesse's interview, by the way. This was far better.
I saw. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. All right.
He's a
Thank
good
you.
producer.
Come back again. I will see you at the National.
Awesome. Sounds good, buddy.
All right. To everybody else, take care. We will see you on the next episode of Hobby News Daily. See ya.